Ever feel like there's got to be more to this whole life thing? Like maybe we can experience the world on a whole other level? Well, get ready, because today we're diving deep into cosmic consciousness. And to guide us on this journey, we've got the work of Dr. Richard Maurice Bucke.
Bucke's work, it's really interesting. He doesn't just throw some big idea out there. He analyzes historical figures, tons of them, like religious leaders and philosophers, even artists.
Yeah.
And he finds these weird similarities, almost like they were all tuned into some universal frequency or something.
So we're talking like Buddha, Jesus, maybe even someone like Walt Whitman. That's a pretty diverse group. What kind of similarities are we talking about that make us think they were, operating on another level?
Well, Bucke found all these experiences and traits that kept popping up. Sudden bursts of clarity, they often describe it as this like subjective light, and a heightened sense of morality, a real strong feeling of being connected to everything, like literally everything. And this deep, deep conviction that there's more after this, like immortality.
Okay.
He even suggests there's a link between this cosmic consciousness and a diminished sense of sin, which is kind of a radical thought,
Wait, hold on. A diminished sense of sin. So it's not just like feeling connected to everything. It actually changes how you view right and wrong.
Right. It makes you question what you thought you knew about morality, Because Bucke says this change happens because when you tap into cosmic consciousness, you start seeing the world through this new lens, this lens of unity and love, really. And that leads to this like deep compassion for every living thing and this understanding that we're all connected in ways we can't even really grasp.
Wow, that's a serious upgrade for humanity.
Yeah.
But this isn't something that just kind of happens randomly, right? Did Bucke have any ideas about what might make someone more likely to actually experience cosmic consciousness?
He actually thought it could be a natural step in human evolution, like humanity's next level. He suggests that certain people, especially those who are really drawn to spiritual growth and who feel really connected to nature, might be more susceptible to this experience.
So it's like this hidden potential we all have, just waiting for the right moment, the right doc spark. It makes you wonder how many people throughout history have experienced this, and we just don't even realize it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And even today, right? How many people right now are on the verge of this shift? It's a pretty wild thought. Bucke even thought that as humans evolve, this cosmic consciousness, it might become more and more common.
Okay, now that's a hopeful thought.
Yeah.
That maybe this cosmic consciousness could be the key to a more compassionate future for everyone, for the planet. So, if that's a possibility, is there anything we can do to make it more likely? Like, what are some of the things Bucke noticed about the lives of the people who experienced this shift?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Bucke noticed that a lot of these people, they went through some really tough stuff early in life, rough childhoods, financial struggles, that kind of thing. But, and here's the important part, they used those hardships, those challenges, as a way to grow. Like they came out stronger and more introspective on the other side.
So it's like turning adversity into like fuel for self-discovery. Like resilience is actually a superpower in disguise.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes even deeper than that. Bucke saw this really strong connection to nature in a lot of these people too, like spending time in nature, experiencing its cycles, its beauty. It's like it opened them up to a bigger perspective. They saw how everything is connected.
That makes sense. Nature has a way of reminding you that you're part of something way bigger than yourself. Did Bucke ever talk about how these experiences actually like triggered this cosmic consciousness? Was there a pattern to these awakenings?
He describes this fascinating pattern of deep, deep introspection. Like they would be out in nature, really present, or maybe immersed in some kind of study, and then bam, sudden, profound shift in awareness. Like something just clicks and they see themselves in the world in a completely new way.
Like a mental and spiritual awakening all at once. And that's when they tap into this cosmic consciousness.
Yeah, that seems to be the common thread. And Bucke, he doesn't shy away from describing how powerful this experience can be, talking about rushes of light, these feelings of overwhelming joy and connection, and this unshakable certainty that they had touched something truly profound.
It sounds like a life-altering epiphany.
Yeah.
Did Bucke give any specific examples of like these triggers in action? I'm picturing Buddha like under the Bodhi tree having that aha moment.
You got it. Buddha is like a textbook example for Bucke. After years of searching for spiritual answers, meditating, he reaches enlightenment while he's meditating under a tree. It really shows how powerful nature can be in these kinds of transformations.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing a pattern here. Intense searching, connecting with nature, then boom, this massive realization, like all these different paths leading to the same profound shift. But Buck's work didn't stop at these historical figures, did it? He thought anyone could experience this, right?
Absolutely. In fact, he uses more recent examples too, like, Walt Whitman, the poet.
Walt Whitman, like Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman. Now, that's a name I know.
Mm.
What makes Buck think Whitman had this cosmic consciousness thing going on?
It was the themes that kept popping up in Whitman's work, especially in Leaves of Grass, interconnectedness, this feeling of transcendence, and just a deep, deep love for humanity. Those ideas really resonated with Buck's concept of experiencing unity with the universe.
Yeah, those themes definitely line up with that whole oneness thing.
Yeah.
Did Buck find anything specific in Whitman's life to back up his theory?
He did. Whitman, who was a huge nature lover and had a ton of empathy for people, he actually described a time in his life when his awareness just totally shifted. He talked about being overwhelmed with this sense of love and connection to everything around him. It was like he was trying to capture this feeling, this experience of cosmic unity in his poetry, but it was so profound, so difficult to express.
It's like trying to describe a dream. You can never really fully capture it, but
Yeah.
you know you felt something powerful.
Exactly. And Buck, he believed that Whitman's experience, along with everyone else he studied, it wasn't just some random thing. He thought it was like a sneak peek into the future of human evolution. That this cosmic consciousness wasn't some mystical anomaly, it was a potential stage of development for everyone. One that's marked by more compassion, more wisdom, a much deeper understanding of our place in everything.
It's a really hopeful thought, that we all have the potential for this level of connection and understanding. But if cosmic consciousness is such a huge evolutionary leap, why aren't we seeing more of it today?
That's what fascinated Buck, too. He acknowledged that, yeah, we all might have this potential within us, but there are probably certain factors that make it more likely to happen. Factors he dedicated a lot of his research to figuring out.
Okay, now you've got me on the edge of my seat. What did Buck think those key factors were? And did he give us any clues about how we could actually cultivate this cosmic consciousness within ourselves?
Well, this is where Buck's work gets really practical, and we're going to dive into all those details right after this.
All right, let's get practical.
Mm.
What were those key factors Buck thought could lead to cosmic consciousness?
Okay, so Buck identified three main factors. The first one might seem a little counterintuitive. He called it devolution.
Devolution. It sounds kind of like we're going backward, not evolving to some higher level of consciousness. What did he mean by that?
It's not about, like, literally going back in time. Think of it more like letting go, shedding those old beliefs and habits, those ways of seeing the world that just don't serve you anymore. It's like you're making room for a big upgrade. He noticed a lot of the folks he studied, they went through stuff that forced them to question everything they thought they knew, and it led to a much wider view of the world.
So it's like hitting reset on your mind, getting rid of the old software so you can install the latest version.
Exactly. And that leads us to the second factor, developing simple consciousness. Sounds pretty basic, right? But Buck saw it as the foundation, like the basis for self-awareness and eventually for cosmic consciousness. Simple consciousness is that, basic awareness of what's around you, what you're feeling in your body, stuff that all living things share.
So being present in your body, grounded in the here and now, not lost in your own thoughts all the time.
Right. Buck thought being connected to your senses, to nature, it was key to developing that baseline awareness. A lot of the people he studied, they really loved nature. They found peace and inspiration in it. They weren't afraid to, get their hands dirty, really experience the world with all their senses. He thought that allowed them to tap into this more, primal, interconnected way of being.
I like that. These simple sounding ideas connecting to something as profound as cosmic consciousness. So we've got getting rid of old limitations through devolution and then building that grounded awareness with simple consciousness. What's the third piece of this?
The third one might be the toughest, cultivating moral elevation. It's about developing this heightened sense of empathy, compassion and love for everything, really expanding who and what you care about.
So moving beyond that me first mentality and seeing yourself as part of something so much bigger.
That's it. Buck was convinced that cosmic consciousness wasn't just some intellectual understanding that we're all connected. It's a feeling, a deep, visceral experience. The people he studied, a lot of them were known for being super kind, compassionate, really dedicated to social justice. They didn't just talk about interconnectedness, they lived it.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Yeah. Putting that understanding of interconnectedness into action.
Right. And this is where it gets really cool. Buck didn't just theorize about all of this. He actually looked for ways we could cultivate cosmic consciousness ourselves, like actively.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
I'm all about some practical steps.
Yeah.
What did he suggest we do to nurture that cosmic connection?
He had a few ideas. He was a big believer in self-reflection, introspection, that taking time to really think about your thoughts, your beliefs, your motivations, it could help you let go of the beliefs that are holding you back. He suggested things like journaling, meditation, even just having those deep, soul-searching conversations with someone you trust.
So becoming aware of your own mental and emotional baggage to make room for cosmic awareness.
Exactly. And along with that inward focus, he also thought connecting with nature was super important. Buck believed that when you're in nature, noticing its beauty and rhythms, you can tap into that bigger, more interconnected way of being. He was all about things like hiking, gardening, even just chilling in a park. Anything that gets you to be present, experience the world with all your senses.
I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Nature definitely reminds you you're just one small part of something much bigger. Anything else on Buck's list of recommendations?
He also talked about cultivating compassion and empathy for everyone and everything. He thought that by doing kind things, helping others, fighting for social justice, it could help you expand your circle of concern beyond just your own little world. Volunteering, donating to causes you care about, or even just being more aware of how you treat people, treating everyone with kindness and respect. He thought those actions could create a deeper sense of unity, of being connected to the world.
So aligning how you live with that understanding that we're all connected. It sounds like Buck thought cosmic consciousness wasn't something you could force, but it's more like something that happens when you create the right conditions.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're creating the right environment for it to grow.
I love that analogy. Getting the soil ready, planting the seeds, and then just letting nature do its thing. It sounds like a really personal journey. Did Buck think everybody was capable of this, or did he believe some people were just like wired for it?
That's a great question. It's something he really grappled with in his research. He did believe that cosmic consciousness was a possibility for all of humanity, but he also acknowledged that some people might be naturally more inclined towards it, maybe because of their genes, their personalities, even just their life experiences.
So it's like some folks might have a bit of a head start on this whole cosmic consciousness thing, but in the end, it comes down to whether you're willing to put in the work. Did Buck ever pinpoint any specific traits that might mean someone's predisposed to this experience?
Yeah.
He noticed a few traits that seemed to pop up a lot. Things like a deep love for nature, a really strong sense of empathy and compassion, and a tendency towards introspection. Also, a sensitivity to beauty, like in art, and a real drive to find truth and meaning in life.
So a mix of nature and nurture, like some things you're born with and some you cultivate along the way. But if those qualities aren't always obvious from the outside, how did Buck square this idea of predisposition with everyone being able to reach cosmic consciousness?
He believed that even though some people might feel naturally drawn to this kind of experience, everyone has the potential to develop those qualities and create those conditions for it to happen. Like, those predispositions aren't a guarantee, they're more like a good starting point.
So it's not a free pass, but it's like having a leg up in the race. Your effort still determines how you finish. This whole idea that cosmic consciousness is possible for all of us, it's incredibly hopeful. But it also makes you wonder, if Buck thought we were meant to evolve this way, what did he think a world full of cosmic consciousness would actually look like?
He believed it would be a completely different world. And he wasn't just talking about individuals becoming enlightened. He actually imagined a collective awakening, like a societal shift to a more compassionate, ethical, and interconnected way of life.
So more than just everyone walking around feeling one with the universe, what tangible differences did he see happening?
Buck thought that if enough people experienced cosmic consciousness, it would fundamentally change how we relate to everything. Each other, the planet, even ourselves. He imagined a society where empathy and compassion were the driving forces, where competition and greed were replaced by cooperation and the shared responsibility for everyone's well-being.
That's a beautiful vision. But honestly, it's kind of hard to imagine something so different from how the world is right now. Did Buck think this massive transformation would just, happen overnight?
He knew it wouldn't be easy. He figured there'd be pushback from people who were afraid of change, people holding on to old ways of thinking, and he knew we'd have to completely rethink our social, economic, even political systems.
So not exactly a utopia, but a work in progress. Did Buck think this would happen overnight, or was it more of a gradual thing for him?
He definitely saw it as a gradual process, unfolding over generations as more and more people woke up to this higher level of being, like a natural progression toward a more enlightened way of life.
So no magical switch that suddenly makes everyone enlightened. Got it.
Yeah.
It's more like an organic evolution of both individuals and society, right? What did Buck think we could do to help move things along? Any practical steps he recommended?
Buck was a big believer in education, but not just the memorizing facts kind. He wanted an education system that nurtured empathy, compassion, and critical thinking. He also thought it was crucial to foster that sense of awe and wonder about nature, recognizing how powerful that connection can be for spiritual growth and, maybe even sparking that cosmic consciousness.
It's about giving future generations the tools they'll need to handle this evolutionary leap and then empowering them to actually build a better world. It's a really inspiring vision for the future. But I've got to ask, if cosmic consciousness is this key to a more evolved, harmonious existence, why haven't we heard more about it? Why is it still so fringe?
That is a question, isn't it? Maybe it's because experiencing cosmic consciousness is so profound, so beyond words that it just goes over the heads of anyone who hasn't felt it. Or maybe it challenges everything we think we know about the world so much that people just aren't ready to accept it. Or, and this is what Buck thought, maybe we're still in the early stages of this whole evolutionary thing and it's only a matter of time before cosmic consciousness becomes more widespread.
It's a lot to think about. The idea that humanity could be on the verge of this massive shift in consciousness, one that could usher in an era of peace and understanding and connection. It's a pretty amazing thought. It challenges us to explore our own potential, to grow spiritually and be a part of something much bigger than ourselves.
I think as we keep exploring these questions, it's good to remember something Buck said. Cosmic consciousness is not a theory, a belief, or a speculation. It is a fact of experience. It's like he's inviting us to look inwards, to cultivate those qualities of our hearts and minds that make us open to this transformative experience, and to trust that in doing so, we're helping to create a brighter future for everyone.
And on that note of cosmic optimism, we're wrapping up our deep dive into cosmic consciousness. We hope you found this exploration insightful and maybe even feel a little inspired to start your own journey of self-discovery. Until next time, keep those questions coming, keep seeking, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of the universe and the incredible potential that's inside all of us.